Well, hi. Uh, I seem to be a bit shiny today. Let me just adjust the light a bit. Uh, Look at me. I look like a little angel. Now, um, I was going to make a video, but then I reconsider it, and I thought I would just make a stream, not a long one, I hope, uh, talking about my adventure in American media and videos. Okay. Uh, I just I really wanted to get a feeling, get an idea of what are people really experiencing now in terms of the issues the US has been having, both in politics, in economics, in social matters, with the policies imposed or implemented, sorry, by the Trump administration. Now, uh, I went to normal, let's call it, channels, you know, like CNBC, MSNBC, CNN, even Fox, all of those. Now, I did a run. And if you don't know me, I'm a bit of a mad, hyperactive person, you know. I'm a speed reader. I sometimes can be doing three, four things at the same time, you know. I'm that type of person, you know. I'm the annoying little shit that wakes up at 7 in the morning, for example, and wakes up like a robot. You know, if it, I sometimes remember that Philip K. Dick novel. You know, where people take a drug that is destroying their mind at the same times, and then they wake. They don't sleep and rest. No, they just turn off, and then turn on again, you know, like that. But uh, as I was saying, I watched a lot of media, and what did I saw? Okay, I saw those Fafo videos, for example. I saw some videos from the other side of the barricades, you know, the Trump supporters and all of that. And first thing is first, you know, the end of the love relation between Musk and Trump is all over the news. It's all over the YouTube videos. You know, it's ridiculous. You know, they are reading what they are saying, what Musk and Trump are saying in the social media. You know, then what is Musk going to do? He's going to reveal this. He's going to reveal that. Whatever. You know, but the thing that I found is this: Americans, even in the news, never analyze the facts. They they analyze. Sorry, just saying hello. Hello, Ginny Bottle. How are you doing? Uh, they don't analyze facts as we do. You know, even in the UK, where they have some issues with media, but where they still have some good media outlets, you start with the fact. Okay, then it's the interpretation. But they turn the facts into narratives. Meaning, I will give you an example. For example, around here, a yellow car, sorry, has hit a blue car. Okay, all good, Jimmy. But a yellow car hits a blue car, and that is in the news. Right. In all news channels here, the first thing you will see is this. On road, I don't know, on road number 2, outside the city of Lisbon, whatever, a yellow car, cart, cart, a yellow car hit a blue car. This is the first thing you hear. The fact. What happened? And then you hear the reporter's opinion. For example, the reporter might start saying, "Oh, there is a government report that says that blue cars are too slow to be in the highway, in the road." Okay, and then you might have a report that says, "Oh, yellow cars are too fast to be on the road." You understand the positions? This is a very simple and very basic example. This would be how that news piece would be reported around here. First you would see the same fact in all news outlets. So you will always know that the yellow car hit a blue car in all news out, all of them. Okay, and then you would have different opinions. Okay, but the fact would be there, and this is because here there are very strong laws against misinformation, against fake news, and all of that because we know the effects they have in society. Okay, you cannot play around with these type of things, and you cannot leave these things in the hands of lobbyists. There might be lobbyists that don't like blue cars, and that reporter favors that lobby. So he will say blue cars are too slow. Okay, or he because he's protecting the yellow cars, or vice versa. You understand? But the issue here is that the news is always the same. And in American news, first of all, they start with a long introduction to nothing, meaning you would see someone, a green meaning. That would be nice. Nice one. But, uh, you know, in American news, first of all, they would start with an introduction to nothing, okay? A big panoramic on the road, a story about the road, whatever. And then, instead of saying the fact, the reporter, for example, if the reporter is a supporter of the blue cars, the reporter would start. This poor blue car was just minding its own business, going down the road, and then that evil yellow car just came up, speeding with absolutely no mercy and smashed through the poor blue car. Okay? This, if he supported the yellow car. If he supported the blue car, same old story, same introduction, same long story, same talking about nothing, and he would say, "Oh, the poor yellow car. He was going at a normal speed down the road, absolutely innocent. And then that blue car has always going too slow down the road, was going so slow that the poor yellow car was unable to stop the crash. Poor yellow car. Let's ban the blue cars." And then they would repeat this news outlet, this news piece incessantly, several times, and interface, with a lot of commercials, a lot of ads to all kinds of things. And this is American media. I saw it. You know, and then they have the feel good the feel good news, like for example, a group of kids, pitching in to buy a new medicine or whatever for their teacher because the teacher, poor soul, hasn't got a health insurance, it could not have afforded. Do you know what those types of feel good news tell me here in Europe, United Kingdom, in France, in Spain, in Portugal, whatever, even in Russia, for God's sake. Do you know what those news tell me? You are a bunch of idiots that do not give medicine to people that need it. Okay? And I cannot trust in your news because you did not state the fact. You did not told me a yellow car hit a blue car. No, you told me a narrative about what happened. And now, applying this model of thinking into what I saw about Musk, about Trump, about the consequences of the Trump regime, the Trump way of governing, this is exactly what I saw. Admittedly, I saw some people that were absolutely logic, but they were drowned in a literal sea of so many narratives that I don't want to call dumb to people, but a less informed person would feel absolutely lost. Media narrative, exactly. Control the masses and sensationalism. Exactly, Ginny Bottle. Exactly. No, she's absolutely right. But a normal person would feel, I don't know, what is really the truth? Because you are not getting the truth. You know, it does not bother me. For example, it does not bother me that a reporter gives his or her own opinion about an event, as long as they report it as it happened. You know, because then if you tell me the facts first, if you explain to me the car was going down the road at X speed, and it hit the other car at X speed. You do. I use this simple model because I think it's easier to understand what I'm trying to say this way. Okay, and remember, English is not my first language. Okay, please. And if you tell me the facts, I will be free to accept your idea or not. And this is why I really like our media laws here, you know, because these laws that are implemented not only in Portugal but also all over the EU, in every countries of the EU except Hungary, okay? But we know what is happening down there, and that is the subject for another video, another or stream. But having things this way controlled, what does this mean? This means that I have a freedom of choice. Means that if I'm watching a news channel and I'm finding they are trying to push their narratives and not telling me the facts, I'm out. For example, I will give you an example. Not to be biased, but CNN Portugal, for example, here, I don't like them. You want to know why? I'll tell you. Because they do explain that the news, the events as they happen. So they are not committing any crime. No, they are not. Okay, and I don't want anyone to be listening to this video and say such a thing because they are not. Okay, you got to be. You also have to be careful what you say about other people and and news channels and whatever here because there is a limit to free speech. We don't have an absolute free speech. We have free speech. It's an entire different thing. Okay? But I don't like them because of this. Because I notice, sorry, that when they are talking about, for example, Ukraine, they are reporting the facts. But then they are always introducing that American narrative. In what way? For example, I saw this in two different channels. Okay, I saw one in a news channel that has a very funny name, but has an entirely different meaning in Portuguese, which is a channel that is SIC, SIC. Okay, it means something like Society of Information or whatever. Okay, but I saw that same news in that channel, and in that channel they have um, two two people, two experts that are a guy that was I think he was born in Russia or whatever. He's married with a Russian woman, and but he's Portuguese, of course, and another guy that is a seasoned international reporter. And these are two people that, while giving an opinion, they have a lot of knowledge on the ground. They have, for example, that the older guy, he speaks Russian, he understands Russian, he reads Russian, he knows the Russian society, he knows how it works, for example. And the other one is a very experienced news reporter that was in war scenarios and all of that. He knows a lot of how things work and all of that. And so these are people that are able to analyze an event and give you an honest opinion. And you are free to like it or free to understand it or not. And they reported what happened, the spiderweb operation. And first of all, they told me what happened. And if you don't know, it happened this way. About almost 2 years ago, Ukraine sent agents into Russia. Those agents created companies to move around houses and solar panels and all of that. And then, covertly, now that they had the network established, they packed the lorries, the trucks, with drones, okay, and charged with charges of no with detonation charges and all of that, and then they gave orders to the drivers that knew absolutely zero of what was in the back of the lorries, okay, and they told them, oh, take this car and go to this place or that place. And in some occasions they told them, refuel at this town, in this place. And when they had all of the lorries placed in the region, the area where they wanted them to do it, using AI and remote control, they activated the drones. And those drones destroyed four of the six strategic bombers that Russia had. And this is an enormous loss. Okay, but maybe I will talk about the consequences of this one. But this is just to give you an example. This is all that I heard in the news, and then for example, they showed some images of police officers trying to enter, and normal people, trying to stop the drones from taking off from the back of the lot of, you know, and then do after. Uh, Okay, I think I'm on again. I'm on again. Okay. And then, as I was saying, then those they first they told me about the about what had happened. Okay, and then they told me their opinion, and then I had three different opinions, but all of them did their opinions were not how can I say this against the facts. Okay, what do you mean with this, John? Okay, I will tell you what I mean. I mean that they, for example, the Russian guy told me, what consequences will this have politically to Putin? And it weakens his position a little, but it does nothing at all because he's still in control. And the other guy said, well, this will show internationally that Ukraine is able to defend itself and that we should support Ukraine and whatever. No, and they went on and went on. When I saw this in CNN, the first thing the analysts were talking about after, after showing me the same facts almost to the T, okay? Almost. One more information here, one less information there, but the same thing. I heard the same thing that I had heard in American media. They did not inform President Trump of this. So, paraphrasing an Ukrainian lady that answered the tweet of a guy that was speaking about this, she said he he informed me, an Ukrainian citizen that elected him, and that my taxes are paying for him to be there. He did not need it to inform the President of the United States. But yet for CNN, apparently, this was a very, a very important thing. And in the other channels, it wasn't, because it's not. But do you understand? Now imagine you are someone less informed. You are watching CNN and you are saying, oh look, the guy did that. No, he entered he went into Russia and did all of that, and he didn't inform the Americans. And the Americans are sending him weapons and are doing this and they are doing that and blah 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 and whatever. Do you know? Do you understand this? This is the danger. This is the danger of having a narrative. And if it's dangerous, if I consider this dangerous here in a place where the facts, at least the facts, have to be absolutely truthful. Imagine in a country where you can twist the facts. And this is exactly what is happening in the US. I saw this in each and every channel I watch. Some had good intentions, let's call it like this, and they were trying to reinforce, for example, speaking of the ICE detentions, of, for example, all the population gathering to protect immigrant workers, or protect or hiding immigrant families, okay, or taking care of kids that would their parents were taken, okay, and they are kids, but they are American citizens, whatever, and others being supportive of the actions of ISIS, cleaning the streets and whatever. But I did not saw a one little piece of news from the mainstream media that was actually reporting the facts first, coldly, and then issuing an opinion. And I now can understand, how did the person that said I will be a dictator day one, how a person like that was able to be elected. Because American news, they play on emotions. They don't play on fact. Like Jeannie was saying right here, control the masses with sensationalism, smoke and mirrors. And she's absolutely right. She is absolutely right. All they do is this. And then in Europe, where we don't do this, or try not to do it, and I'm not saying that there are, look, there, like I told you, for example, we have CNN here, okay? We have a couple of others that are sensationalists and whatever, and they focus on futile news and futile events and whatever. I'm not saying that this does not happen here. The difference is that here, if you tell a lie live as a reporter, there are the truth will set you free, right? Yeah, that's a good one. But this is why here it's a crime. It is, for example, in the US, for example, you will have if a person was for example was the supporter of the remember my little story of the yellow car, okay, the people that support the blue car would say, oh, you're a racist, you don't like blue cars, you criticize them, you don't like blue cars, you're a racist, you're a yellow car supporter, you're a yellow nationalist, or vice versa, and this is the level at which they are. This is the level of their cultural wars. People are confusing things that might not be misogyny, that might not be hate crimes, that might not be racism, that are just stupidity. And other people are getting offended by stupid people because they are stupid themselves. They are complete. It's a complete mess of emotional reactions because they lack that factual event. They lack the truth, the fact, because they only get the bloody narrative. And then I go into YouTube and I start to watch videos, several videos. I watched videos of people. I have spent one almost 30 minutes turning off some recommendations, and I even did my research with a different account, but I spent my time listening and watching videos of Trump supporters, of MAGA supporters, okay, of those FAFO videos, of so-called American left. I spent my time, at least 1 hour in this case, watching those videos and seeing. And as I told you, I'm a bit of a speed freak. I'm a hyper, hyperactive person that would be able to see two videos at the same time. Okay, sorry. But I spent my time doing that. And what did I see? So I saw that both the people, like I said in other videos, I saw the people that were supporting them wrong, and the people that were mocking them wrong. Why? The ones that were mocking them were speaking in that same emotional way that will create one single reaction in the other side. Okay? I will explain. If you are mocking someone, the emotional reaction of that person is to be mad or mock you. The truth can get you your freedom taken. Very right. Let me just tell you this. Myself, I'm not very sure about saying what I am saying around here, okay? Because I might have consequences about it. Been thinking about it, okay? But let's continue. But when you mock someone, the reaction of that person is either to be defensive and try to attack you or mock you back. So it's the same level, and no one wins anything about of it. So in my opinion, the time to say I told you so is gone. What you do have to do is do what I do. I ask questions. As I said before, I have a weird sense of humor, and I'm a very sarcastic person when I want. Okay. For example, I used to mock flat earthers. I used to mock them because it was fun. Sorry. But now I go, I have grown up a bit, okay, emotionally also. Emotionally, I was always a bit like this, but let's say this: you are constantly growing. And uh, let me just say hello, hello, all shorts. Everything all right, Marcus? Now, I used to mock people. I used to mock flat earthers and whatever, but after a while, I started to do just this: asking questions. You're not offensive. They tell you, oh, the earth is flat because of this and because of that. And then I ask questions. Oh, really? So how do you explain the NASA photos? Oh, they were all fake, they're all CGI. Okay, why do you think they were? Oh, because of this and because of that. But that is just the way the light hits. It has nothing to do with the picture. You do understand? And how does this usually end? If I am talking with a person that is just lost in the ether and that has been misinformed, that person either ends by saying, I don't know, but I will look into it, which for me is a plus. It means am, am, um, I have awakened someone in that person, and that person is having an idea being drilled into his mind, his or her, whatever, or it ends with the offense. They offend you, they tell you off, they block you, whatever. Asking questions is good, yes, Ginny. The answers might be a problem. Okay? No? Well, that is a risk you take. I understand your position, Ginny, but asking questions is important. I ask questions to myself. Okay? When I have, for example, when I'm in a situation where I think I reacted not correctly or not as I wanted to react, I ask questions to myself in order to understand why the hell did I act like this. And sometimes I act like an idiot, like anyone can call himself a human. Okay, but I do the same thing with Trump supporters. And let me tell you this: in some occasions, I have been able to make a person change their speech, and I have met said person more than one in other occasions, and they have changed their tune. They started with a question about tariffs. Oh, the tariffs, they are going to fill the coffers and this and that. And my simple question was this: but do you know what a tariff is? Let's go to Wikipedia. There is a definition of what tariffs is. Oh, oh, but they still will. Do you understand? It started here, and then it ended with a person saying, "Well, tariffs might not have not been a very good idea." That is enough for me. Because you see, I'm not, sorry, all shots, I'm not monetized, okay? I'm doing this on my free time. I'm doing this sometimes as a form of catharsis. I'm trying to say something and I'm trying to help people. And I'm not doing this because I want some kind of recognition or whatever. I'm doing this because I think it's important uh, to say something, to speak out. Even if sometimes you're wrong, even if sometimes you make mistakes and you have to go back and correct yourself. How can I say this? As long as you keep progressing, as long as you continue to speak and trying to connect with other people and trying to bring some light into things, you are doing something right. And I know I might be sounding a bit like a Stoic or a Buddhist or whatever, but the Stoics said that, for example, and Ginny Bottle is saying this, as long as you realize you've been an idiot at times, but learn from it not to be so again. Exactly. And this is exactly what Marcus Aurelius said in his Thoughts to Myself. If you don't know this, Marcus Aurelius ruled the Roman Empire when the Roman Empire was at its peak. Okay, really. In the year I believe 190 after Christ or something like that. Okay, 180, 190. He was a man that was born in a palace where people got killed, where power suddenly changed from one hand to another, and the way that he found to have some kind of inner peace and try to make life better for the citizens of the empire, because he actually cared about the citizens of the empire. He traveled in the empire, he fought in wars, he but he always remained true to himself. And he said this, and this says, ever since I learned this has never left my mind. So you see how important it is sometimes to read the right things, to be said the right things. In this case, it was said to me. Okay, a mistake is only a mistake when you fail to recognize it as a mistake, even if only to yourself. Okay, and you try to correct it, and you try not to do it again. What what does this mean? This means that you first have to recognize to yourself that you did not act correctly. And secondly, you correct yourself. Meaning, what should these people that are mocking the ones that voted in Trump say? Forgive them? I'm not saying this. This is not what I'm saying. They should stop. They should just say, this is bad. The president approved this. Why are you not fighting this? Why are you crying? For example, there was a guy that was crying that his workers, most of them were Mexican and they were hardworking people. And when I voted for you, Mr. Trump, you were just going to get rid of the criminals, but now you're getting rid of hardworking people, honest people that have families and this and that and blah 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 blah. Instead of mocking him, you turn to him and say, "So you are admitting it was a mistake to vote in Mr. Trump?" And if he recognizes this, you have to help him. You have to say to him, "Look, uh, I don't know, my friend. Try to legalize your workers. Try to do this. Try to do that. Because you are not here in this world to please everyone. You are not here in this world to be always nice. No, you are here to be truthful, to be just. That is the Stoic way. This is the way that I have chosen for myself ever since I was a kid, to be honest. The Stoics in Nietzsche. Okay, and if you go through this path, you are not when you stop an argument, you are not forgiving. You are not losing anything. A person offends you. That is completely out of your control. You cannot do absolutely nothing about that. Nothing. Let me just say, you can please some of the people of the time. You can please all of the people at the same time, but you can't please all. Yes, correct, correct, correction. You only have control, and this is the stoic in me talking about it again. You can only control your reactions. Lately, I've been having some issues in work. Do you know what I do? I control myself. And sometimes it's really stressing. There is a reason why I have not been making videos so much, so many times, because it's complicated sometimes. But what do? I don't react. And you do not, and let me tell you this, because this is important, and sometimes people confuse being stoic as being in control all the time and being all like this in the face of whatever happens. No, the feeling that you have is normal. If someone calls you a bad name, it is normal for you to feel offended, to feel hit. But the way that you react to that, that is only on your control. That is the only thing you can control. That is why, for example, Marcus Aurelius said, if someone has offended you, if that person is stronger than you, forgive him. If that person is weaker than you, forgive him. Because if you forgive the person that is stronger than you, that has offended you, you are forgiving yourself. And if you are forgiving the weaker person, the person that is weaker than yourself, I'm having some issues with my net. Here I am again. Okay, now let's see if I'm able to continue. Um, the issue here is, and going back to the sun of the question, I watch all of this American media, and what I saw was this: people are like attack dogs. They are standing in an emotional platform in opposite positions, and they are like biting each other. And while they are doing this, the people that are above them, meaning Mr. Trump, their Congress, all of the elected MPs, they are collecting. They are taking advantage of this situation because none of them, absolutely none of them, has the clarity to look up and see who is gaining with this, following the money trail. This is why when I started to enter in these Brexit channels and all of that, I always used to say this: follow the money trail, see who is benefiting from this. And this is the same thing that now with the Tories gone and with Labour in power and Labour doing some things good and some things bad, extremely bad, I might add. But Starmer has disappointed me a lot. But uh, I say this: if Farage is talking about a certain thing, you do not go with his narrative. You ask yourself, who is being benefited by this? Okay? Who is being benefited with the fact that there is no normal policy of immigration in the UK, just like in the rest of Europe? Who is gaining with this? Are you gaining anything from this? Then ask yourselves. Mr. Frosch says this is bad. I'm talking about Farage, I could be talking about Trump. They act in the same level. Demagogues. This is bad, and he is doing this, and he's doing that. Oh, he's bowing to the European Union. Okay, what are the practical examples of that? In fact, he's allowing the UK to sell more goods into the EU. Oh, but he's forfeiting the fisheries. No, English, British, in this case, British fishermen are now able to sell their catch in European ports easier. This is an example. Yes, this is one. You didn't know this. I understand that, but this is one of the advantages of that. You know, I heard a Dutch fishmonger talking about that, talking that now he already had three or four in this case English ships, fishermen, fisher ships, crews of fish of private fishermen, will lay, sending their catch to him, and he was able to more quickly assess the quality of the catch and sell it in the EU according to the rules of origin and all of that. These things are easier now. Starmer is also singing about getting the UK back in the Erasmus program. This will also be an advantage. So, why is Mr. Farage talking shit about this? Might it be to gain your vote because he knows you, I don't know, you hate the French or whatever? And he's using your hatred of the French to get your vote. He's using your hate of migrants to get your vote. Because let me be absolutely clear about this. I have absolutely no issues in controlling immigration. But I have a lot of issues in treating immigrants as if they were animals. They are people like me, flesh and blood. If we die, our bodies will rot in the earth just the same. Okay? And after we rot, we will be both skeletons. Okay, it isn't the fact that a person is different than you, then that if a person is a transgender, if the person is gay, it's a person. It's not a bloody alien, Mr. Farage. It's not an alien. Okay, gay people go to the bathroom like you do. They clean their asses like you do. Okay, they get sick. They get the flu. These people, Trump, and all of these demagogues, and I saw this in the American media, I saw them doing this. They demonize and they turn people into, I don't know, into boogeymen. They turn the immigrants into boogeymen. I saw a person that was a serious person. You know, I think he was an older guy, an older guy that had worked in public offices or as a public officer also, some branch of the government. He did, I don't think he said, but he was talking about percentages, and he said that of all the mm, illegals, so-called illegals, that ICE was jailing, only around 5 or less percent were actually criminals. Think about this. The Americans now have people in armor, military grade armor, with their faces covered, picking up people from the street just because they look different or they look like migrants. I mean, you put a hat in my head, you know, put me in a pickup, and I would look like any other hillbilly. Sorry, these allergies, my friend. Okay, but now suppose this. Suppose that I was a brown person, or I don't know, Asian, whatever, and I was, oh God, oh pass. But suppose this, and suppose that I was, I don't know, just go on my way to work. I I am an American national, but most Americans don't have they have this weird habit that I don't understand because here in Portugal we always have our documents on us, at least the ID card. But suppose I don't have any documents. No, I'm just I don't know on the back of the car going to my job, and suddenly guys in armor come up, uh, get me, grab me. Where are you from? What's your name? Blah, blah, blah. Show me your papers. And you say, look, my friend, I'm just Tommy Gutierrez. I don't know. I live in, I don't know, 23 some street. And I'm just going to my. Ah, you are an American? No, I'm an American national. Oh, no, you're not. You're not. You're not. And you start, and if you try to say something, they will kick your ass, throw you in the back of the lorry, and there you go. Like Genie is saying here, yes, the great trick divert attention away from wealthy being the problem. For people's struggles, try to blame some others. Yes, yes. This is where I was going to. This is the point. But suppose that poor guy is sent to a jail. During that time, he misses his work. The boss does not want or he is unable to justify his absence that might take days, even weeks. And when that poor guy, an American national, leaves the jail, if he is lucky enough to just not just happen the same thing that happened to Kilmar Abrego and be sent to El Salvador, and he has lost his dignity, he has lost the income from the job, he has lost a million things, and there are even people question themselves that saw him get jailed. Look, that guy is here again. He was jailed. Yeah, he was in the state county jail for a couple of days. Oh, I think he beat up some person, or he did this or that. Do you understand the entire uh, emotional, financial, and social problems that come from this attitude of just jailing people? Okay, and the Americans don't read. And Jeannie was saying here, she was absolutely true. They are being diverted from the real issue. While they are arguing, like I was telling you, when they were arguing, biting themselves, they don't look up and see who is gaining the money trail. While they are doing this, the oligarchs are draining their economy. They are stealing their money. They are destroying the soft power the US has in the world, that it took the US more than 60 years to build. They are losing market shares, and tomorrow, if they are able to get rid of these people, I honestly doubt it. I have my doubts, I have my issues they will be able to do it. If they get rid of them, they will find themselves in a country where there are laws like this big, wonderful bill that might not pass through Congress, let's see, that they are binded by laws that are perpetuating a situation where the wealthiest of the society have everything and pay nothing. And that, and where a middle class and the lower class is being crushed by taxes. And the reason why, for example, in the UK, I don't understand how people can tolerate this, how people can continue to go to believe in what Farage and the media are telling them, is because you are being, sorry to say this, you are being fucked up. And in the UK, it's happening the same thing. The poorest in the society are paying for this crisis. Minute. My cat. My little kitty likes to open doors. No. And I see these people in the US, and I saw this today while watching all these hours of media, and I had to do this video to vent out these ideas before I went to sleep. Okay? Because I see people completely oblivious to what is happening around them. Now, I saw some things that I liked. For example, I saw the ice trucks, the trucks filled with the ice officers arriving to inspect a neighborhood or whatever it was, you know, and uh, and I saw the people, all people, white people, black people, Hispanic people. I saw them all getting together and simply standing there. And the ICE officers were trying to pass, and they didn't touch. And these people, they were not being violent. Attention, they were not doing absolutely nothing. They were just asking them questions. Why are you here? Sir, move along, move along. Why are you here? And they didn't move. And the ICE bastards, the ICE Gestapo, the Gestapo, my cat opens my door again. God, crazy cat. Uh, and the ICE Gestapo, they were unable to shoot at people because people were not being violent at them. But there, mark my words, there will be a day if these people get enough power, they will shoot at you. They will shoot at them. But they got in their little cars and they got the fuck out because people, the entire community, in that case, came together. But I have seen other cases, and they showed them. I saw them and they showed it in this was in CNBC or something like that, where they were performing their little tactics, and people were just passing by. I even saw a scene that I found really ironic. They were arresting a poor guy, throwing him to the ground, and this teenager was just passing by, drinking her latte, like if it was nothing. It was normal. Do you think this is normal? This is not normal. People People are completely lost in their emotional narratives, and they seem to be unable to understand what is happening around them. I don't look. I told this. I told this in an all shorts video in the comment sections or something like that. When I start now, I'm going off the topic, but I'm going just to say this as an example. When I'm sitting in a cafe, this was a couple of weeks ago, and I was sitting in a what we call a esplanade, an outside space of the coffee shop where you can sit and be in the sun and whatever, in the sidewalk, sitting down, having your coffee or your beer, whatever. In that case, I was having a coffee with a friend, and there were 4 or 5 teenagers, guys in the 20s, early 20s or whatever. They were just sitting down after the work and whatever, and they were talking about Israel, and they were talking about Gaza, and they were talking about all of that. One of them was what we call Cabo Verdean, which means a person that is half African from the Cape Verde Islands. That was a former colony of Portugal. They have been a part of the landscape around here for a long time. Okay, and they were talking. The 4 or 5 kids, they were having a beer and they were talking. They must have been working or something like that. Me and my friend, we were just having a coffee and talking about stuff, just talking friends. Okay, and then we paid attention to the conversation of the kids, and they were talking about Gaza and all of that. And then one of them, it would be more ironic than this. I would not be able to tell this and not be this ironic. The dark skinned kid, the half black, the black kid. Okay, you would call him a black, but for me it was not. We drew that difference. But the black kid, they were talking about, and then he says something like this: Hitler was right. They are really f. Again, normal kids, not extremists, was saying that Hitler was right in killing the Jews because of what the Jews were doing to the Palestinians in Israel. And the other one said, oh, they are all the same. And this is in a place where you have normal information, and that those kids, I'm sure that if, for example, they were near someone that knew what the hell had happened, that person would slap him in the face and say, "What the fuck are you talking about? Shut up about that. You think it's right what Hitler did to the to the Jews? You know, putting him in death camps. Do you think you want to do this?" And the kid would answer, like I know he would, because I would also. Look at what the Jews are saying, and the other person would agree with him. Would agree that what the Jews are doing is genocide. If you don't like to listen, I'm sorry, but that is genocide. Okay, a systematic extermination of a group based on religion or race. But there will be that sense of saying it's not the same, and it's not. Let's not compare things. Let's not go there because I know of Jewish people that are deeply disturbed about what is happening to the Palestinians. So here in Europe, at least, we have this mental break. This mental break that tells you no, don't go, don't be emotional, don't compare things, call things as they are. And in the US, they don't have this. They just fall into their own emotions. They fall into their own narrative, like I was explaining in the beginning of the scene, that story with the blue car and the yellow car. They fall into that narrative. They fall into that rabbit hole, and they don't get out. And they are their entire lives in that hole. And I saw teachers. I saw presumably educated people I saw people that should be pragmatic, like sorry, excuse me, like journalists, like farmers, normal people, and they all follow the same narrative. This is why when people talk about woke, I said that joke. Why are people messing around with the pot where the Chinese guy cooks my rice? Because I find it ridiculous. These culture wars are entirely manufactured by people that want to control you. They want to divide you to control you. They want you to blame the black guy that is living next to you and that you don't know, that you might not like. They want to blame that guy instead of blaming the bastard of the politician that allowed people to enter in your country without no conditions, no conditions to sustain that person. And this is why we have issues in the US, we have issues in Europe, including the UK. This is the reason why we have issues, because people that are above us in a different degree, they don't care about us. They care about their pockets. And if while it was in the EU, for example, the UK had some brakes on it, because the EU does have some brakes on it, and those brakes are getting tighter, and we are not allowing it. We want a normal and sensible immigration policy. For example, here in Portugal, now if you want to be here, okay, now in Portugal, if you want to be here, you have to have a job. But we are distinguishing between political refugees, okay, and economical migrants. What does this mean? This means that if a person calls for help, imagine, for example, and this has happened recently here, a couple of families of Syrian Christians. My cat has opened the door again. A couple of Syrian Christians were asking for help. They asked for help in the Portuguese embassy. Okay? And the Portuguese embassy spoke with the Portuguese church. And the Portuguese Catholic Church found a place for these people to come. And they all came. And with them, just like it had happened in the past, in another occasion, also came a couple of Kurdish families that were helping them. They were Muslims, but we still helped them because these people were in actual danger of being executed if they remained where they were. And this is an entire different case of someone that just wants to go to another country, perhaps not even to settle there, perhaps just to work for a couple of years and earn some money. But both of these people deserve some respect. And what happened here in Europe, just like in the UK, was they were letting people in without any conditions. And this has caused enormous problems. And when people start telling me this, oh, the far right is growing and this and that, my answer is, why is this happening? And you are talking with a person that is not a racist, never was, a person that is not either a far right extremist or a far left extremist. This is not me. You know, I like to think, I like to have opinions, I like to see things with facts and logic. Okay, but and people tell me, for example, here in Portugal, I already talked about this, but there is no far right in Portugal. There isn't. Even in the constitution, it's banned. But there are, however, more austere positions, both in the right and in the left. And the so called or still right. They are calling out the far right bullshit. By the way, I'm not a supporter of their party because their policies do not fit my ideas. Just to put this out of the way, okay? But that party is now the second political force in the parliament. And people ask me why. Well, I will tell you the story of a friend of mine that lives in the city of Beja that has been flooded with immigrants working in the fields. And the government allowed businesses to hire people under these conditions without having more tax services, more medical services, more infrastructures, more houses. Do you understand why these people went to vote in that party? Because that party showed them their program, and in their program, they say something like this: there is a job, there is an immigrant. If there is no job, they have to go. People voted with logic, they did not vote with emotion because people are experiencing those programs. You know what the left said? And now I'm getting off the topic and talking about, but I will. But I will go. You know what the left said? Oh, they are racists. They are racist. They are this. They are that. Instead of recognizing the problems of the citizens and taking care of them. Because here you don't have a situation of a Farage going to the beaches and saying, there comes another boat, there comes another boat. No, no. You have a situation where people are, and then another funny thing happened. Then those people that entered through here, they went to other sides of or other parts of Europe and causing issues in the other sides of Europe. And then the other countries, especially Germany, Portugal has a big connection with Germany. Okay, and then Germany called up the Portuguese government and said, "My friend, what are you doing? You allow people to enter if you have enough jobs. These people are not political refugees. These people are economical refugees. Why did you allow them to enter if you did not have the conditions to keep them there?" Look, and and then people are surprised. Hello, ginger giraffes. So, and then people are surprised that these things happen. But this is Portugal, where there is no far right. This party will not be allowed politically, constitutionally, judicially to take any kind of measures that go against the constitution and the personal rights of people. Okay? But now imagine you are in a country like the US, where a maniac can do whatever he wants. Or imagine that you in the UK, God forbid, elect Farage. Do you have any idea of the chaos it will ensue? Look at the US. Okay? Look at the US. That is the UK. The UK can turn into that in a flash of a gun. And we don't want this. Like the responsible people in the European Union are saying, okay, no worries, Jesus. I also started late. Uh, this is why whenever these people, if they start to react in this way, I say, you are doing that, you are playing their game. You have to do what a lot of people in the US are fortunately doing: sue, don't cooperate, civil disobedience. If you react with violence, you give them a reason to react with violence. The only way to solve this issue is, like I told you, ask questions. Why are you doing this? Oh, how are you going to solve this? This is the way you disarm demagogues. And if they are now trying to be elected in your area of the planet, ask them questions. Okay? Ask them questions. The government here has found a solution for the immigration problem. Simple as this. They are taking care of the people that were already here, that have rights. They are viewing the cases. Those that have conditions to say can say, of course, if there are jobs for them to perform. And then they are going to have to address the issue with the infrastructures. Okay? And then they are saying this from now on, only in this way can you enter. And remember, there is an absolute difference between political refugees and economical migrants. An absolute distinction. Okay? There is no confusing this. Okay? And also people continue to have rights. But now they cannot simply get a tourist visa, come here, find a job, and legalize themselves. No. If you are coming here to work, you are coming here to work. If you are coming here as a tourist, you are coming here as a tourist. No, no jokes. Okay? So, a person wants to work here. There is an employer here that is hiring, I don't know, 20 fruit pickers to work for 6 months in a farm in Alentejo, in Beja, for example. You get your job from wherever you are. Okay, this is a digital world. Okay, it's not we are not living in the 80s like Donald Trump says. Okay, and he says, okay, you are approved, go to the embassy, and that person goes to the embassy or consulate of Portugal, wherever he is or she is, and says, look, I want a visa in my passport because I have a contract with this company in this place to do this, to receive this amount of money and that and that and that and that. Okay? The embassy verifies if everything is all right, a stamp in your passport, and you can enter the country. The moment you enter, you are paying taxes, you are making social security payments, and all of that entitles you to rights, entitles you to almost any right of a local except voting and some other things, okay? And some other priorities, of course. But that person, this system that they are implementing now, and that they should have implemented from the beginning, gives the person that comes to our country a security, a stability. You know, that person knows that he or she can go and work, and imagine this. Imagine that the person only works for 3 or 4 months and then he is fired or whatever. Then that person goes to the border services and they tell him, look, and they see their situation, if they can or cannot stay in the country. And if people voluntarily leave the country, they can leave normally and then try to enter again. If they don't, it's their responsibility. They are caught, deported. The key factor here is treating people with justice. And what Mr. Trump is doing with migrants is not just. There are people that have been living for 20 or 30 years illegally in the US that are being deported. And they have children that are American citizens. At least for now, because birthright citizenship is not revoked. And I don't think it will, because it's a constitutional right. I have serious doubts they will ever be able to do it. But the key issue here is, why are they blaming that migrant, and they are not blaming the governments, successive governments, both Democrats and Republicans, that let those people in. Instead of doing that, they are blaming the migrants. You want to know why? Because this way, While you are all fighting in the bottom, they are collecting their payments and their money up above. Do you have any idea how many millions Trump has won with this tariff war joke in the markets? Well, right now he is not earning any money at all because the markets have caught him. Okay, the markets have caught up and they are not joking around. But when this is ending, the dollar might be worthless. It even might uh, lose its position as the key currency in the world. But having gone off topic, but with reason, we are going to return to the sun of the question. And this is what did I saw in American news? I saw nothing. I did not saw news. All I saw was emotions and people talking about an issue from different perspectives, but without any perspective at all. All of them wrong. Why? Because, like I said in the beginning of the stream, they were not being, they did not see the facts. There is, you know, I I am very worried about the future of the U.S. if this continues this way, because the problem it's not as superficial as people think. This is not a superficial problem because you have a systematical system that does not allow people to, how can I say this? So the words are missing me. I have to end this stream. I'm a bit tired now. But what I'm trying to say is this: absence of truth, absence of facts, absence of information, people lost in emotional self narratives, you know, gathering in groups. Do you know what this is? This is a civil war festering. And a civil war in the US won't affect just the US, it will affect the entire world. And even if it's a civil unrest and a social conflict, it will affect the world. It has always affected the rest of the world. You know, the US is 13% of the world's economy. Whatever happens there will always have issues, will cause issues and problems all across the world. And by subjecting myself today to watching around 4 hours of American media, I had to make this video. I had to make this stream. First, I thought about making a video, but no, I'm going to make a stream, even with the issues I've been having. But what I'm trying to tell you is this: if you are in America, gingers, I would leave. I'm being very honest with you. If I could leave, now you have to have a plan, But I would start planning this because the the way society is going, this can never end well unless there is some kind of I would not say revolutionary action, but unless there is some kind of shift in this way of thinking, eventually this will not end well. It will not end well because you have literally a Gestapo-like police in the streets collecting people. Today they are collecting migrants, and there is no way to impeach Trump. I keep hearing people talking about this, and like a guy that I sometimes watch, an American guy, Texas Paul, a guy with a Texan with a hat and whatever, and sometimes he talks about it. He says you are stupid, and he is right. There is no way, there is no way. Sorry to hear that, Jesus. There is no way, okay, he will be impeached right now. You cannot impeach unless you can prove that he is senile, that I think he does have some senility, has some issues. But if he leaves office, guess who is going to be the president? Vance. Couch surfer boy. And if in Trump you have a buffoon, a greedy little buffoon, sexist, a criminal, be honest, no issues here. It's right. In Vance, you have an extremely intelligent guy with an intelligent woman behind him, and that can cause serious issues because Vance will know Vance will know how to navigate the party. And if you think that Vance is dumb, he's not. For example, did you know that Vance and Wifey are the owners or are shareholders or whatever of a major agricultural firm that has been buying up American soil, taking over farms that have been affected by the tariffs and all of this? Did you know that, for example? It's not stupid. Trump was playing the game of the tariffs and still is playing the game of the tariffs, but it is not working right now. Now, I think he is doing it just as a way of asserting power. He was doing all of those games to collect his pay and to go golfing and do whatever he does behind closed doors. But this guy is thinking in the long run. Right now, for each hour he spends in power, Vance is collecting information and he's collecting land, he's collecting influence, he's doing a lot of things. And there are a couple of guys. For example, the Prussian cross guy, Hexet or whatever calls himself, he's a moron completely. But that little Lutnik creep, he's smart too. That guy that keeps saying, "Oh yes, Mr. President. Oh yes, very good, very good." That idiot. He's also smart. Trump's son-in-law, also smart. Trump's older son, a moron. Trump's daughter, extremely dangerous. And more than that, the little guy, his son with Melania or melanoma, like some of you call her, that that kid will be a danger in the future too, because you see, he's being raised by mama, and mama is very smart. Yes. Do you see the ensemble of people that might succeed Trump? And if you think this is very far fetched, think of this. Who would think that Trump would be elected? Here in Europe, we kept screaming that he's going to be elected if you continue this way, Democrats. He's going to be elected. Kamal is not reaching uh, the people, and she was not to trying to convince a person that is a misogynist and a racist to vote in you. You have to walk a long road, and she did not. Now, I'm not saying here that she would not be competent enough to do the job. She would. I have no doubts about it. I'm not saying here that she lacks merit, but she is no Ocasio Cortez. That is the type of woman that you want. That is the type of person that you need. Or that black girl. I don't really. Sorry, I'm sorry. I don't. I often don't know the name of the politicians. But that black girl that told Musk off, something like that. Those are the type of people that you want. And I don't care if they are women, if they are black, if they're Asian, whatever. You need competent people. And if you have a person like that in power, that person will be able to tackle the issues. And this is what you need. You don't need someone that is telling you all that you want will be good. No, no. You want someone to tell you this is bad, this is not good, this is more or less. Okay? And my plan to solve this is this. Not some orange moron saying immigration is bad, water of the wettest water. I am going to be dictator on day one. And then you are surprised that he does what a moron does. First of all, not so much of a moron, because he is cashing in. Okay? But just to conclude the stream, this is going on late and I still have some other stuff to do, but what I saw is a lot of emotion and a lot of lost people. People in the US, they are lost and they are not listening to anyone. I see a couple of people that listen, but when you do what I do, and I told you, you ask questions, you can convince one or other people, but unless there is an actual change, I think the US is lost. I honestly do. I'm honestly starting to believe an American YouTuber, and Texas Paul has spoken about this too, that said that the US might be lost and that it's up to Europe to keep the flames of democracy alive. And even Europe has its issues. This is why I also say that it's extremely important for the United Kingdom to stop this bullshit immediately, and start. You know how I feel about rejoining. You know it has a lot of rules. It's not easy. But if you start the process right now and you get rid of people like Farage, okay, if you get rid of people like Farage, it will be much easier. You can start by doing what Starmer did. And I told you before, I don't like the guy. He is too servile. I'm sorry. But he's too servile. He's a serf of the Red Wall. He was a serf to Trump. Oh, Mr. Trump, I love you so. Oh, shit, my friend. Just look at the way Macron and the new German Chancellor answered Trump. See the difference. Okay? But right now, what he is doing, what he has achieved, it's not any bloody Brexit result, but it's a great start. Solve the EU wants access to the fisheries. Give them access to the fisheries and give us this. Starting to align regulations with the EU, ending that not program that the Tories created. I don't recall the name of the program. It has the name of a scientist. That program that the tourists started to replace Erasmus and start to try to enter Erasmus. That the UK can perfectly achieve. Starting to have a true dialogue about migration, to aligning the policies of the UK with the EU. These are all great starts, you know. And if you continue this path, the UK will find itself more protected from the madness of the United States. As Ginger Giraffe is saying here, yeah, you can't rely on us anymore. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. No, we can't. And this is something that for example, here in Portugal, the YouTubers here, they are completely oblivious to this. And this also worries me. Or they are not interested or whatever. This is why I'm also going to start to create a channel to speak in Portuguese, okay? To start this dialogue. And I know it will be hard, but I will start it. But what I'm trying to say is this. The US, Alan Turing, yes, I think it's that name, Casper Martin. Thank you. The Enigma code. Enigma code. Okay. But I don't recall. Wasn't he gay and didn't they force him to commit suicide or something like that? I think I recall something about it. Okay. But now, folks, I'm going to end the stream. Um, this is going to be a lot of food for thought. I might make another stream about this because I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to discuss this, to see things. And this is what I did today. And I could not go to sleep without venting this into the ether first because it actually scared me. It scared me to see how it's very easy to dismiss people as stupid. It's very easy. Okay? Oh, you are dumb. You are saying this. Oh, they are all dumb. They are all following the taco and whatever. But when you start to dig into these rabbit holes, and when you start to see the way people act, when you start to see how their news work, and I honestly did not think it was this bad. When you start to see all of this, you start to get sorry for saying this way. You start to getting fucking worried. And in my opinion, is the same one as ginger giraffes. You can't rely on us anymore. I know we can. I know I was saying this that we can't rely on the US, okay? But to a degree, I still believe there was a chance of correcting some things and whatever and just going forward. But no. Now I'm glad for those boring politicians in the European Commission, the European Parliament. Now I'm glad those boring politicians had enough discernment to cut the US off now, just for starters, from the military procurement and started to oh all right. Thank you, Ginny Bottle. Thank you. I knew there was some story about that. I studied something in school, I think. Oh, okay, okay. Thank you, thank you. Taking meds. Oh God, madness, madness. But I am glad. I am glad that the European politicians, Antonio Costa, that was a prime minister here, a good guy, I shook his hand. Okay, I was near him in an event. He did not just shook my hand. Okay, he shook the hand to of a lot of people. No, but I shook his hand a long time ago when he was the justice minister. And no, no, I'm not someone famous. Okay, I just happened to be there, and the guy extended the hand. I shook him. Okay, and he's a nice guy. Okay, as a person, he's a very nice person. He's a very simple person. He's not how can you say? He's not a pompous fool. Okay, and he's very serious and very hardworking. He's a person that when he starts to work, he works. Okay, but I am very glad that we have those kind of people in the EU, and they are being able to stop other nutters like Meloni, like Orban, and all of these nutters. I am glad they are being able to control these people. Because, in another hand, we do need balance. Okay? So, we need these people to keep the sane ones in check and to serve as an example to the rest of the crowd that says, look, see what these people are doing. Do you want that? And they say, no, no. It was just like Brexit. The politicians actually start to ask people, look, do you want this? Do you want to be in the same place as the British are? Do you? I am just saying you this. There is better quality of life in Poland than in the UK. And you will say there is more money in the UK, there are more rich people. Okay. Are they paying taxes? You are going to have to deal with this before you enter in the EU again. Because we have already dealt with it. We have no issues with rich people as long as they pay their bloody taxes. Okay, now I would like to thank you all that came to this stream. The ones that I'm seeing here, All Shorts, Casper Northerner, Ginny Bottle, Ginger Giraffes. I thank you all for coming here and listening to my rambles. Okay, as I said before, I would try to make a stream uh, every Saturday, more or less at this hour. Okay, I will try to do another one next Saturday. Okay, and I will try to post some videos over the week. Okay, I remember this channel is not monetized. Okay, so there is no alter. I work Monday. I work every day. To get my pay. Sorry, all shorts. But this is not monetized, so I can talk here. Okay, you can talk in the chat. Okay, my only rules are be polite, and you can call me a fool if you want. I don't care. Okay, it's all good. It's all good, and you can correct me, please. But I would just like to thank you all, and I wish you all a great weekend. Okay.